Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 3 of the podcast where we unpack the messy, the modern, and the mildly chaotic with just enough attitude to keep it real. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Tristan.
And this is Just Another Take. In this episode, we're actually going to be talking about ghosting and why is this a flex for Sun? We've actually seen it. We've probably all seen it. We've been in a situation. Things look good. We're talking back and forth. And then all of a sudden, that person Houdini's right out of your life with no explanation whatsoever. Here's a crazy twist, though. Some people, they use it as a flex. Now, why? Why does that happen? Is it because of fear? Is it control? Is it emotional intelligence? Is it emotional maturity? These are the things that we're going to run down today and the things that we want to be able to kind of get into. What I will say is get yourself ready, grab your coffee, grab some sage, find your kids, hide your wife. Let's start talking.
And exercise some demons, folks. Let's talk about
Exercise the demons. So let's get into it today. I mean, this is a crazy topic. It really is something that I would say is pretty wild for us. I love the caption, the "Now you see me, now I'm blocked." So who wants to start this bad boy off? Who's got something for me?
Oh, not you over here.
Not
the
the nodding. Not the nodding to
Fine,
Tristan.
I'll go first.
The nodding to Tristan. All right, go ahead, Tristan.
Yeah, well, I mean, ghosting is one of those things where, I feel like people kind of as like a defense mechanism do it. Like obviously you go through the trials and tribulations within a friendship or relationship, and then something goes wrong, and then it's just like, well, how do I deal with this? Well, I'll just ghost the person. And it's like, it's almost like it's the quick solution for you, where it's just like, I'll just make it disappear. And it's like, it never happened, instead of like addressing it or, what the problem is at the time. So I almost feel like it's almost like an escape, like someone just goes, oh, well, I'll just get rid of the problem. Like poof.
It's like a clean escape or something that they can do to try to say, oh, this is, like you said, some way that I can handle, quote unquote, handle whatever situation's going on. What are you thinking, Andrew?
Yeah. I mean, been on both sides of that spectrum, both sides of that coin. And there are times you think it's just like, oh, it's a clean break with just, I don't have to say a single thing with whatever's going on. I don't have to address that. And sometimes there might not even just be an issue. It's just, hey, if a conversation got dry, there's nothing for me to really address. And I'm just going to go on with the rest of, my day, my life, and things like that. And yeah, we just probably just view it clean break, good riddance, or it's terrible to say good riddance, but hey, you got your life, I got my life, and hope everything's good for you.
So I think that kind of also goes back to some of the stuff that we were talking about last time, right? Like, because you said something that kind of sparked it for me when you were like, oh, I'm kind of over it. So does no message really show a message, right? So the ghosting, it's really a message, right?
Yeah, I view it as that one, in my opinion, from my experiences. And, you had a situation where there was someone, like you said, having a good conversation. We going back and forth for a couple days, try to even set something up, whether it was like a coffee date or something like that. Something very simple just to get going, know each other, don't have to do much into it. And really out of nowhere, there was nothing. And I was like, interesting. I don't think I had brought anything up to the table that was offensive or, just out of the ordinary per se. And, I gave that one last shot, let me just chuck this up from half court and let's see what happens here, kind of thing. And again, it was no message, nothing, just put what I had, my feelings and what I wanted to communicate right out there out in the field. And to me, that was that answer. I was like, okay, so there is nothing more to go from here. I threw this last second shot up and I'm not going to the final dance.
What is your last second shot? Because I'll tell you this, I know personally, I've been in a situation when I'm like, Yo, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna tell you this is my last text I'm gonna send to you
Oh,
because like I hate the double text. Like I can't
mhm.
double text somebody without having anxiety. You know what I mean? Because if I'm doing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, now I look like a fiend. Like what is going on? So what is your
Like, what
last?
did I say? You want to know what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said?
What's your YOLO? What is
So,
your YOLO?
in that situation, it was more like I said, hey, I felt that we were having a lot of good communication, that we were going back and forth really well. I know our schedules haven't kind
All the
of
Dr.
maybe
Phil stuff.
all the doctor. Wow, damn, I didn't know that. But there's certain things like, hey, I have an interest in you. Is this
Mhm.
something you really want to also proceed with?
Yeah.
And I'll make some time. We'll figure out what day works best. You let me know. Crickets, Jiminy
Mm.
crickets, my boy. Okay.
And then you wished upon a star. Because that's what
Well,
happens. You wish
well,
upon that star, and that don't work. It's
it didn't.
starting to look bad. So
No,
Tristan,
We're not enabling this.
No,
No, we're not.
no, absolutely
Definitely not doing that.
Tristan, go ahead. Go ahead. I need to know what's your good story, and give me your last ditch effort, that like half court shot.
Oh man. Let's see. Let me try to keep this I guess a little PG-13. No, not at all. We're not doing that. Okay.
NC-17.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so I mean I have a little bit of a story here. So I was seeing a girl at the time. It was pretty casual. We would just kind of like enjoy each other's company. And I remember one time she came over, and we were enjoying each other's company. And
Making
she
whoopee, if you said.
she pops an interesting question. And she actually, wants to know if I was with any other like ladies. And mind you, we are literally like
Deep.
Are we in birthday suits or not?
We're deep, okay?
Birthday suits.
Or nah?
And I mean,
So
maybe
wait. She stops you mid go and says, "Excuse me, I need to know if you're seeing anybody else." In the middle.
full
middle.
blown interview.
Oh,
Yes. So
I feel a little
my
uncomfortable
smart
being in
ass,
it right now.
my smart assness came out. And well, the question, obviously was that, and my answer was, well, it's too late.
Oh, not the too late.
Maybe not the best answer, but it was factual. Like at this point,
Nah, bro. No.
and after that,
I mean, he has a point though. If you've gone that far, it's like that scene in Alden Kumar when they're like, "We've gone too far." Like that's exactly what is going on right now. We've gone far too far for you to be like, "Wait, I'm going to second." I mean, at the end of the day, it is, like
Yeah,
the
100%.
choice of the girl.
Choice.
She can
Gotta
stop.
be mutual. Gotta be
You know what I
mutual.
mean? Exactly. We know that.
Gotta
But
be
to
mutual.
ask that question, that's an interesting one. So
It's
now,
just not. That is not great timing.
yeah,
at all.
Yeah.
Not great timing.
So definitely ghosted. And this is how I knew I was ghosted, right? So of course, I hit her up. Oh, by the way, she left shortly thereafter.
Okay. All right.
As you probably imagined.
Yeah.
Night over.
Yeah.
That's an impressive magic.
Text, no response. Call, no response. So I'm like, oh well, that's
So you try to smooth it over, right? You try to be like,
of course, because you live and you learn. It was not
like that wasn't the right response to the situation. But okay.
And this is how I knew I was ghosted, because I had one of my boys at the time hit her up. So after my calls would just go to voice, I'm like, oh, what's going on? I had him call, picked up right away.
Oh,
I said, oh, okay.
Maybe he wasn't seeing any other girls.
Fair point.
Okay.
Next topic.
All right. So I've had a couple of, actually ever since moving out to Florida is very interesting to meet people. And so I was actually, at a bar. I was playing darts with the team, and yeah, don't judge me. So we were going, and I remember there was a bartender or she was a waitress, I assume, that she was taking care of us, and she was like, since every Monday we have like a a group of people, so they have a waitress that comes out, and we hit it off. We actually hit it off real well. We were joking with each other back and forth. She even left like a message on my phone, like when she got my my telephone number. She called me and left me a message on my phone because I was being silly, like playful with the kind of stuff. And one of the things was like, I was like, "Oh, she hates me now." Okay, I get it. And so she called me, left me a message, and she was like, "I don't know what I did to make you think that I hate you. I don't hate you. You're awesome, blah, blah." And I was like, all right, cool. This is friendly, like good, cool banter. And we were going back and forth, and I was just like, like I want to take you out kind of thing. And after us talking for a little, like it was probably like a day. And then it was like no response. And I'm like, hmm. And now, like being the person that I am, I'm like looking, like dissecting my text messages. Like, did I say something wrong? Was I like I too forward about anything? And I'm generally kind of just a chit chatter, especially in text. So I was like, what the heck did I do? The only thing that I could think of, and this is where I got to play like devil's advocate in this place, is that maybe, some people that they're in a situationship and they're kind of like teetering, so they don't mind giving out a number or something like that. But if something's happening, maybe they'll just ghost the person that they were just talking to. Is that like an okay time? I don't know. We'll get into those kind of things later, but like that's kind of the things that go into my head. So,
Mhm.
question for you. What actually happens like when someone gets ghosted? What do we feel like the emotions that are attached onto it is like? What's your immediate reaction, and then what's your long-term reaction, T?
I think for that dynamic, it's kind of goes back to like power, right? It's a power struggle
Ooh,
again. It's
yeah.
just like, you want to have and control the relationship, so to speak. So when you make that move, you're controlling where it goes, which is you're trying to end things. So I
Yeah,
feel like it just goes right back to that power struggle, right? Between
sure.
two people where it's just like, well, I want to take control of the situation, and that's it. I'm just going to ghost that person. And you're choosing to end it. And I feel like also the psychology behind it is like, then it becomes a justification. So it's like, oh, I ended it on my terms. So, you leave that situation with like your head kind of like held high, so to speak, because it's like you made that decision. So
Yeah.
you dictated the outcome.
So the power thing, you're going back to what we were talking about in episode 2, that power concept is big because if you have the power, you feel like you're in control of situations, and most people hate when they're not in control. So here, by me not contacting you, I've told you that it's done. It's like that famous thing where like they do that in like TV shows and movies where somebody's about to break up with you and you're like, "No, I'm going to break up with you. I did it. I broke up with you. You can't break up with me." Right? Like that kind of nonsense will
No,
happen.
they were on a break. Okay.
They were on a break. Nice.
No, but
Nice.
I guess
Go ahead.
for me personally, early on we're we're talking about a lot younger and having gone through a couple of those ghosting situations now as I've gotten older. That initial time when you're ever like first ghosted and you feel like things are going like really well, you're like, is there something wrong? Is there something? And again, you bring it back to you. And I mean, maybe that might be a little bit selfish or a little egotistical, but you're like, hey, they haven't responded to me, and it felt like really good conversation. We were going back and forth. You might have those little sounds like you're going to start making some inside jokes with the banter that's going back and forth and things like that. Little flirtatious text messages or DMs, stuff like that. I mean, hey, we were calling. We might even FaceTimed or something like that. And then out of nowhere, you're kind of just left in the dark per se and trying to figure out what happened. And you might start going a little crazy. You might even start scrolling through text messages and like, hey, where is it that I went wrong? Where did I make the left turn? Where did I drop the ball per se? And then you might start thinking where you're like, maybe I do have to stand up that desperate half court shot. kind of deal.
Yeah, no, I got you because I feel that same kind of way. I think it also goes down to I guess in episode 2, we were talking a little bit about this too, like the insecurity aspect of it,
Hmm.
because,
Correct.
like for myself, I'm like, oh, well, what did I do wrong? And then sometimes you just got to realize sometimes people ghost because they're ghosting and they're just a
Hmm.
power move. And then sometimes they're doing it not on purpose. Like I know
Yep.
personally, I struggle with ADHD and like a couple of things that happen with me. And I know that I'm the kind of person that it's I forgot the name of what they call it, but basically it's if I don't see it, it's not there. And
Out of
what
sight,
I
out of
mean
Object
mind.
permanence.
out of object permanence. There you go. That is
God,
object
that
permanence
sounds so
happens.
smart.
You are so smart, Andrew.
Point
You
for
are
Andrew.
listen.
Come
Point
on, point.
Andrew is
Give me my
right.
point.
Listen, he's
I
getting.
get half
He's
a point
getting.
though.
Yes, 100%. I get the 0 points because I couldn't even remember my own point. So, I get negative points. So, but yeah, object permanence happens with people.
Mhm.
If you don't talk to somebody in a long time, for me, it's not like that person doesn't exist, but my brain works like they don't exist. I don't even think
Mhm.
about them. So like, and you're like, that sounds really messed up, but it's not really messed up because you could call me and I'd be like, oh, dude, how are you? Blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And we can really start talking and having this crazy conversation and pick up like it's nothing.
Yep.
But object permanence is a big thing.
Mhm.
So I try to devil's advocate for people because my first thought, and like I kind of said before, like I tell Tristan all the time with certain things, I'm like, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Give them the benefit of the doubt first. But then it starts chipping away at your ego. Like, I'm already like bordered up, and you're like now talking to somebody, and you're like, okay, let's open those up. Let's open those
Mhm.
up. And then finally, you're like, okay, I think I could open up. And then a ghost happens, and you're like, oh, hell no.
Build a new wall right now.
You shall not pass. Like that. Like,
And build it better. Build it
yeah.
bigger and more
Oh my
annoying for
God.
people to try to get through. So no,
Oh, you're right. Oh, and more
I feel you
annoying
on
is that
I
is a big one.
because I feel you on that because I've done that as well, kind of thing
Mhm.
where you get to that point and you're thinking like, hey, maybe I could show that little weird side of myself that people only see that if you're a real friend of mine or I'm by myself at my own home, kind of thing. Thinking that's something you can kind of start letting loose a little bit, and then maybe you do let it loose, and like you're thinking, hey, that's the thing that, oh, maybe that's the reason why they're not talking to me now, like, and now you have
Yeah.
that idea in the back of your head that you're like, oh, I can't tell anybody unless they're my really, really closest people that this is a certain
Mhm.
hobby of mine or stuff like that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
It's a real
And
thing.
and now you're turning back into being that, kind of a little bit insecure, and you shouldn't
Or
be.
or
You like
distant,
what you
right?
you like what you like, right? You like what
Mm.
you like. There shouldn't be any shame in that. Don't let anyone try to let you feel down or less than because there's something that you enjoy doing, and it's might be something that people go, oh, that's a little nerdy or stuff like that. No, it's the stuff that I like. Bear with it, okay? And if you like me for me, cool. If not, and that's where that maturity thing kind of starts coming into play, because then you realize it really isn't. Probably you said probably really isn't about me. They could have something going on. Maybe they did want to ghost. Maybe it is a power thing. Who knows? But you know what? I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm still going to be the person that I am, and I'm going to learn to grow from that.
Yeah. T, you
I
were
feel
gonna
like
say
with
something.
with like oversharing, and like people then becomes like so conscious about it. It's just like, well, maybe I got ghosted, like Andrew said, because I told too much, I exposed myself too much. So then they're almost afraid to overshare with the next person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this domino effect that happens, and we have to really deal with that. Well, the next person who wants to interact with that person's now got to deal with that, because it's like, well, this person got ghosted and now we got to figure out why I got ghosted. Maybe I said too much. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's crazy because it happens on every level. Because whether it's we could talk about whether you identify as a male or female, whatever we're really going into, where you're talking about male dynamics, male female dynamics, friendships. It goes to crazy things. Like I had a particular friend of mine who came out to me, like he was, he came out of the closet, and I remember he called me, and I was at work, and he called me, and I was like, he's like, I have something to tell you. And I'm like, all right, dude, what's good? And he told me, he's like, I'm nervous to say it because, and this is exactly the words that he told me, and it broke my freaking heart, bro. He said that the last person he told, who was his really best friend, didn't want to talk to him anymore. And he's like, I just want to let you know that I'm gay. And I was like, okay. And he's just like, that's all you're gonna say? I'm like, yeah, man, like you're still my boy. Like what does that have to do with anything? And he really did kind of come out and say, he's like, man, like my what I thought was my best friend, like told me he didn't want to talk to me anymore. And I was like, dude, that's a crazy ghosting, because the person doesn't like the same things that you like. Like I could give two, you know, can we curse? I could do. Well, I'll bleep it out later. But
Two of them.
I like, yeah, two beep beep. But like, honestly, like I was hurt for the
it's
dude.
sad, to
You know what I
hear.
mean? That's super sad. And like but maybe the ghosting that happened over there was more of a fact, was because of the fact, like, uncomfortable.
Mhm.
I mean, insecure. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the situation was. From my understanding, they have cleared it up and they're good now. But it might have been just like a split knee jerk reaction that happened.
Mhm.
And we're talking like, I was maybe like 20 years old or something like that. So this guy was like 20 years old. So we're talking, it's not in a time that is as open as it is now. And so maybe that was the case. But
Mhm.
like those kind of things happen. Like you said, I can't be me because this person, you have to feel like this person might ghost.
Mhm.
Like that's crazy talk. That's crazy talk.
Mhm.
So, and I think I kind of want to hit on this and just basically say like the whole point of this discussion is not to be like a drag and not to be down or anything, but it's more to unpack this kind of information. I mean, these are the things that happen all day, every day to people everywhere and any kind of situation. So like we just want to bring it to light. Again, we're just another take. We're gonna make jokes. We're gonna be silly with each other, and we're gonna be funny about things. But it's just kind of how we're feeling.
Mhm.
So what I would say is for this kind of like this like ghosting 101 aspect of it, right? When we're looking at this, what are some of the ways that because we talked about like people to people kind of thing. We talked about like dating that ways. But what are some of the other ways that we might see this go down as far as ghosting?
I mean, it's
Uh,
pretty much just like no communication. I mean, you go from, I mean, we say like, hey, there's no more texting, and maybe there could be no more, hey, maybe there was a phone call that you guys might have always had every day for a moment, even if it was like a 5 minute type
mhm.
of thing. And now to know where they're not even answering that kind of phone call. Um, how many people do we do? How often do we share reels nowadays? Or you share
Yeah,
like
all the time.
TikToks. Like, hey, that right
Mhm.
there could also be, hey, I haven't gotten that TikTok from or that reel from someone in a while. And we were kind of going back and forth, sending those jokes to each other.
That's a
So
love
that
language, babe. That's a love language.
100%.
That's a love language. Sending reels. That's for
And,
real.
if you're viewing that as a love language,
Real
now think
love.
about that. Think about that.
Yeah, love. Okay, sorry.
But again, you're calling this a love language, sharing reels, right?
Yeah, sure.
Imagine that person that you think you have that thing, and boom, it's gone. It's
Oh
gone.
yeah.
You're gonna feel a very certain type of way, kind of thing, and probably be very confused as to where did this go, AWOL kind of situation.
T, you ever had a situation like that where like you guys were sharing reels all the time and you guys were mad close and then it like kind of stopped or anything?
Whatever do you mean?
Alley.
Well, I mean, yeah, unfortunately, I've definitely had that situation, unfortunately. And also with just like bringing social media into things. So, like, you can maybe, kind of go down that path with somebody, and then like you also follow each other, right? On, let's say, like Instagram. So they may maybe post like or sub. Well, it's not subtweet. Maybe just like use a story to kind of like, send a sub at you, right? It's like a little subliminal. And at the end of the day, you have to, pretty much like decide like, well, I mean, I don't really want to deal with that because we're not really dealing with each other. So, kind of to protect your peace, you might block the person on social media. And that's ghosting, because that's a connection that you just severed. You said, I'm not interested in, communicating with you that sense either. So I think there's also layers to it, right? The phone's pretty sacred. I think we've also seen this like shift from like the phone number to the social media handle with people, right? Like when you interact with someone for the first time, it's usually, hey, what's your Instagram?
Yeah.
Not sure what's your phone number, because what happens is like,
which is still weird to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it definitely takes some getting used to for sure.
Phone numbers too personal now. Too personal.
That's what I'm saying. And then when you talk about blocking someone, I think it's a little bit easier to block a like someone on social media than, I have to change my number. I know you can block someone's number, but like people don't like change their phone number, and that's also connected to a lot of those platforms too.
I guess there's like that taboo, like if you're blocking someone's number, like it got to a very probably insane point in that, relationship or what was going on in that situation. So I guess, like you said, it's easier to hit a block button on a social media app than it is to be like, I'm going to block this number or go to a point where you got to change your number.
It's usually like lose my number.
Yeah. Ooh.
But then
I used to say that back in the day.
But then you don't, right? So the other person goes, lose your number. They start texting you. Now you got to get blocked. Now I got to block.
Nah.
I was trying to be cordial about this, and now you made it.
I told you to lose it. You found it.
You're using it now.
Blocked.
Who gave you that map, Dora? It's not a good one. That is not a good one. It's terrible.
Just another take. Anyway, so going to what we were saying. So we're saying dating, but what about friendships? Does that happen with friendships too? Like, can you I would never block your guys' numbers. I heart y'all's. But I'm saying, like, dare you? I'm going to do it.
Do it.
So, the funny thing about blocking a number, though, at least, right? When you're going and you have, like, so I got another story. So there's this girl that I was, intimate with. And she was, like, on and off. On again, off again, on again, off again with her like ex, and she was in one of those situationships, and it tended to be that whenever she was off again, she would hit me up. Whenever she was on again, she would block my number, and I'm like, and I guess this is the kind of thing where you have to know, going back to your whole self-worth kind of thing, like you got to know your own self-worth, like. Is that worth it, like, to go into that situation? But like, we both had iPhones, and right when you send a text message to an iPhone, what color is it?
Blue.
It's blue, right? What happens when someone has an iPhone and you text them and it turns green? There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, they don't have any service, so it has to go in as a text message. Second reason, they blocked your number.
You don't have any service.
Or they changed their number, or they got a new phone. Maybe they went to an Android. Crazy.
I mean, that could happen, but that didn't happen, because then I would get a text message from a blue. I would get a blue message, like a couple of messages. Okay, all right. But a couple of months later, when they were off again, I'd get a message, and it's like,
and was it blue?
And it was blue. Yeah.
Yeah, they got an iPhone in 2 months.
Yeah, so they went iPhone, Android, iPhone. They went back and forth just for me, just to mess with me.
Maybe she was Kevin Gates. She had two phones.
No.
One for the calls, one for the ghosting.
No, one for the ghost. No, and it got to a point where I would tell you that I started dating somebody, and we were going back and forth, and she would like try to hit me back, and I'm like, hey, listen, like, we can't do this kind of thing. And it was a back and forth where we were both in this kind of toxic cycle, and it had to a point where I had to now block her. But I remember the times where I would be like, I would get the message, and I'm similar to Tristan, where sometimes my smart mouth comes out, and I would get a text message, and I would say, "Oh, I'm unblocked now?" Question mark. And,
You're all petty.
and yeah, I'm Tom Petty, bro. I got you.
Petty Wop.
I'm Petty LaBelle. I'm like, yo, I'm
I'm so
there.
mad I opened that up.
Petty Crocker.
So mad I
Yeah.
opened that up.
So it was just like, I was like, man, like, like, now you can text me, but I would fall into the same trap. So I guess what ends up happening, what we want to kind of get into is like, what's the different types of ghostings that we could have? So I'm going to give you two concepts. One is that they say there's something called soft ghosting, right? And the soft ghosting just basically means, let's say somebody likes your story and then you try to message them and then they don't reply.
Oh, we're going back to episode 1?
We always bring it back. Like a great comedian, we go back to the original jokes. So
Except that door one. Don't bring that
except
back.
that was adorable. Sorry. Go ahead.
He did it. I mean, he did it.
This guy.
He did it. It's that guy right there.
All right.
That guy right there.
Go ahead.
So wait.
So let's say you go and get somebody who likes your story. Going back to episode 1, we're like, oh, what does that mean? Can we slide in the DMs? We slide in the DMs and no response. And let's say it was a picture of you, like straight up G thing. You're like old school, finger on the head, on the face, right? And it's like they're like, no response.
So first things first, is that really how y'all used to take pictures? Like freaking
Yeah. Drop down on one knee and do one of these things. You got a problem with that?
Yes. Okay. Interesting.
Not everybody's doing this now. All the kids are like doing this stupid thing now, where they hide.
I don't even know what that is. I don't take enough pictures to know what any of these things are.
Yeah,
but,
you're just in the land of the lost, bro. You're in the land of the lost.
First things first. Well, thank you for finding me cute for liking my photo. If it's a picture of me, appreciate that. But I guess
Podcast Poppy, everybody. Podcast Poppy. So go ahead.
But again, I guess for me, hey, no answer is an answer. And I mean, if you go back to episode 1, I said personally, hey, I don't look as alike as, hey, it is a cue for me to go slide back into the DM. So again, that's just me on a personal note. So again, no answer. That's the answer to me. Hey, let me throw up this shot again and see what happens. Maybe I'm a little bit closer this time now. It's not from the half court. I'm shooting from, just outside the 3-point line, seeing what happens. And we missed.
Or then letting a message go out where you like, maybe they don't even like your stuff, where you just go and ask a question or something like that. And they put up a story or something and you liked it and you put a message and they just like choose not to answer. That's a ghost, right? That's a message.
But that's a shooter shooting.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like that's what we would call a soft ghost.
That's what we call a soft ghost. Got it.
Hard ghosting is y'all were talking and then it's just like David Blaine, out. This is, you're done. It's just gone. Nobody's there. So with those different kinds of things, I want to go back to what Tristan was talking about and go into the apps. So whether it's a dating app, whether you're using like a Tinder or a Bumble or a Hinge or, I don't know, the farm ones, the farm ones, the farmers only, if you're going to use that, whatever one you're using to go and find your girl. What did he say?
You could have just left that at the main 3, but you just wanted to add one more.
Listen, every big 3 needs a role player. The role player is farmersonly.com.
Starting 5, Andrew.
Throw in plenty of fish and mi gente, and we'll be.
This guy working on the bench.
Let's start at 5. So when you're using those,
pack them up.
So when you're using those, and you're swiping left and swiping right, does that kind of give you like the okay to ghost people?
I don't know if it doesn't give you the okay, but it's very easy because it's like you go into it kind of superficially, right? When you're on a like first things first, we are going to judge based on looks. Like, I mean, it's we say
You're
we
not
don't
supposed to
want to
judge a book by its
judge a book
cover.
by its cover, but I know it's probably one of the first things we do once we're on one of the maps. And obviously, we'd like to find more of somebody who's going to be compatible with us and things like that. But because
I
I
read
think
the profiles, okay?
I'm glad you can read because I can't.
Point
Anyway.
just reads digitally.
Anyway, it's very easy to just you're swiping superficially a little bit. So when it comes to kind of getting that match and like kind of trying to start a conversation, because that's really what's going to happen. You're matching and you're trying to go based on whether it's prompts or what someone put in their profile and bio to kind of like get a conversation going. And then if you get like doesn't seem to be some kind of compatibility right there, it's very easy to just be like, well, we don't gotta keep talking. We'll go back to what we're doing, whether it's swiping. So, kind of like at speed to, if you do speed dating, you're like, hey, we're talking, cool, no, up, next person.
So Tristan, do you think like that ghosting could be like a trauma response? Like could it be like somebody responding because of, like a past action?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also kind of like the revenge ghost, right? So when you get ghosted, and going back to something that you said, and might have been the last episode, hurt people hurt people. So when you've experienced that, it's like you didn't like that feeling, and you feel powerless, right? So you go, well, the next time that comes up, I'm gonna make sure that I'm on the flip side of that. So you make sure that, oh, I'm gonna ghost that person because I'm feeling a certain way and I'm hurt, and this is how I'm gonna hurt somebody else. So I feel like there's like also like a revenge ghost aspect of it once you've experienced it.
Is there like a maybe a feel of I could like not have any confrontation also? Like is there that kind of aspect to it too, do you think? Like to avoid the confrontation?
Yeah, I think that's also part of it. Some people are just not confrontational. And the other half is like maybe you don't want to expend your energy. Maybe
Okay.
that's the better, more positive way to look at it. I'm very energy vibration based. So, you don't want to waste your energy and have that person kind of take that energy from you by going down that path. So you just say, you know what? Easiest thing for me to do to protect my peace, to protect my energy is to ghost them. So
Yeah. So it's almost like I know a lot of the times. So with the social media that we're dealing with, a lot of it is based off of instant gratification, right? Oh, did I get to, like, did I get a like? Did I get views? Did I get all these kind of things? And then when it comes down to the Tinders and the Bumbles and the Hinges and all these kind of dating apps, that it's just like, what they call it, like what it's like popcorn responses, where you just go in quick, everything's real quick responses, or to like yes, no, like dislike kind of thing, and you actually get a match. You're like, oh, wow, and I got a match. Oh, who liked me? Blah blah blah. I mean, at least for me, like sometimes people are just like super good looking, so they're just gonna go grab likes all the time. But I'm just saying for me, where I'm like, oh wow, I got a like. Well, that's pretty cool. It's easy to start a conversation and then stop a conversation because now you've gotten what you wanted out of the situation. Does that kind of make sense? Like I got the gratification of the like, where there's a mutual like, and now we're not talking. How do you feel about that, Andrew?
Again, I mean, it kind of touches back, like you said, there is that gratification, and you're swiping superficially. Hey, we're gonna see where it's saying that I'm supposed to be there's somebody that likes me, and maybe now you're just trying to swipe to figure out who liked you, per se, with no real intention of, am I gonna have a conversation with that person? Am I really gonna look at the profile? Am I gonna see what their hobbies are? And you're like, no, I'm literally like it's like playing a game. Hey, how do I How do I get that number? Who is it? Kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. That is an interesting way to say it because you're right. It's like playing a game. That's all
Yeah.
it is. How many likes can I get? And at the end of the day, it's like some people are looking to have that conversation. So listen, I'm reading the profile. I told you, I'm the helpless romantic. I'm looking at like, oh my gosh, we could have such a good life together and we would be so good. And people are like, dude, why do you get like that? It's just because I guess because I'm the hopeless romantic kind of person where you're like, I want to see that.
Mhm.
And when you invest all that kind of stuff, this is where I don't really like the ghosting aspect of things. I try to be as open as possible. Sometimes there are reasons why you do have to ghost people. When something like Tristan was saying, when it feels like you need to keep your peace. And we can kind of get into that a little bit. But what I want to do is, what about this idea of, ghosting because you're getting some sort of flex off of this? So, like with this, people are actually bragging about ghosting. There's TikToks, there's memes, there's like I saw what it said. He texted back, so I blocked him. Like the people are making this as a flex, and like I think Andrew brought that up before, like being like there was like a ghosted. I don't know. You were talking about something maybe last week. Was it about the being ghosted as a flex kind of thing?
I mean, that's kind of ties back to it. Tristan was talking about like there's that power dynamic. You want to
Yeah, yeah.
feel powerful in maybe that specific scenario in that situation. Or hey, yeah, we're talking, but you know what? I don't really like this person, but I don't have to tell them I don't really like them. So poof, I'm out, I'm gone, on to the next kind of thing. That's kind of like a mentality. To be going out there onto social media and posting is even wild to me, but hey, man, to each their own. Not my circus, not my monkey. So
What did he say?
I'm pretty sure I had got that backwards, but it's
Wow. He said, not my circus, not my monkey. Okay. I mean, I got you. So, T, is it emotional unavailability or is it the lack of emotional performance that makes people do this?
I feel like it could be both. When someone gets ghosted, and you talk about it as a flex, it's kind of like maybe a little bit of low self-esteem, right? Because you want to make yourself feel better about the situation that obviously didn't go well. So you go, well, I ghosted the person. So that's supposed to be a win for you because that's how you handled it, right? So I think in some cases it could be where you're just like not ready to like go into like layers, right? So you can get to know someone deeper, or you can take the easy way out, and that's ignore them and ghost them because I got my instant gratification, and I'm good. So I think it can depend for sure.
And it could also go into the idea of, like you were saying before, like the I got you wrapped around my finger, or like if you're seeing that person, somebody else is like, oh, Tristan's kind of cute. Like, so when a girl says Tristan's kind of cute, and that's her friend, oh yeah, he tried to talk to me and I ghosted him. And you're like, whoa, okay. Like, did you get benefit off of that? Like, is that what you're telling us? Like, like you're getting the gratification off of the pain of somebody else, or like off the heartache of somebody else, or just off of somebody else, which is pretty crazy. And it goes back to a concept that I've seen throughout my whole life. So there was, I mean, Andrew's pretty young. I know he'll know the show,
I
but
know
he
you were
won't
there when
know.
the Dark Magic was written. I know we've discussed this in episode 1.
No, did you ever see Boy Meets World?
I grew up with some episodes. I didn't see everything. That Halloween episode was dope. I'll say that.
Okay, so Tristan, did you ever watch Boy Meets World?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was
Corey.
Corey, exactly, Corey and Topanga,
I know
right?
Corey and Topanga.
So
And
there
Sean, the
was
best
one
friend.
of yes, exactly. So there was one of the kids that was in the school, and the only word he used to say was whatever. and he had this really long hair. He was like a skater, punky kind of looking guy, and he was just like, whatever. And like people were drawn to him. And the reason why is because I feel like that whatever attitude is what, at least I know growing up, there was a lot of that whatever attitude that people were drawn to. People were like they wanted this kind of I could fix him kind of thing, like that if he has no ambition or anything, he's the hard to get person or the hard to get girl. Like that was the one that was the most attractive, and we kind of gave them something that we would never do to anybody else, and we gave them like a currency. And we call, basically, when you're looking at it, the currency that we're giving them is like a social currency to say like, you get my attention because you're hard to get. And if that's the case, if we grew up in a place that that is the thing, where when we're saying things like hard to get is what we're looking for or don't care, ghosting is just a way for somebody to go and play hard to get. But when does that hard to get stop and start going into a real relationship and a real information? When do you know when to stop the hard to get or stop the chasing? Because everybody wants to be chased, right? But when do we stop that? And when did it become so crazy that everybody's just like this, So does that make sense? I know that's like a crazy, like a take out there. That's just another take. But does that make sense, Andrew? Is that that getting in there?
Yeah, dude, it's getting in there like the plug. So
I will not. Go ahead. Tristan, go ahead. You gotta take it. He's laughing too hard over here. Oh.
No, but I think there's definitely some truth to just like that whole, like not being attainable because we want what we can't have. And at the end of the day, when you block off communication, guess what you can't do? Communicate with that person. So it kind of creates that need in a crazy way because like now you almost want to communicate more with the person. So it's just like that power struggle again, where it's just like, and I think that's why it's kind of like viewed as a flex because you can cut the ties and it's usually abrupt. And that's why it's effective because you're just abruptly cutting the ties. And it's like, what just happened? And then the other person's scrambling around like for answers, but there is no closure for that person. There's no communication. So it's like, it also creates a need to communicate with that person. So it's like they want you more in a kind of sick way. But
is there any truth? I mean, because here's just another take. I feel like the person who makes the post that says, I just don't like drama, I don't deal with drama, isn't that the person with the most drama in their life? Have you ever seen that post ever on a person who's not the most dramatic person in the world? I've never seen a person that was like the cool, calm, and collected post I just don't want drama, because then I'd have been like, yeah, that makes sense. Everybody who posts like, I'm done with drama, I need no more drama in my life, that is the most dramatic person ever. So is the ghosting a way for them to take away the drama? Is that like another excuse that people can have for it?
I hate to call it, ghosting like an excuse per se, but I mean, I guess you are trying to avoid like that confrontation, like Tristan said. You're thinking without, hey, if I don't respond, it's not there. The situation doesn't really exist because I don't see it. Like you said, you got that object permanence that you're talking about. If I'm saying to myself, I don't see it, I don't respond, there's nothing for me to acknowledge per se for that. And again, usually isn't putting that kind of post, I don't want no drama, the drama.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like you're asking for it.
Oh yeah.
You're
So
announcing it. That's what you're doing.
exactly. It's like a big target for drama. So, all right. So here's what I'll say then. There are points in our lives where ghosting is a safe option. Okay. I mean, I know I can think about certain times that I've seen it for myself and things that I've seen, but what about in a time where like someone's being like overly aggressive? And for guys, we don't really see this so much because I mean, I can't say this. I can't say that only guys don't see it, but I feel like it's more apt for a girl to be getting creepy texts and creepy vibes by by other guys because guys are idiots. And this kind of dynamic that happens sometimes is that guys are just dumb when they do things and they want to be overly creepy and overly cringe. So it's like a ghost in that situation is almost like the only thing that you can do, right? It or like a way to try to stop that is like, do you guys have like ideas behind that or like other examples? Have you gone through something like that?
I feel like, ironically, you could even make the case that ghosting kind of like, if you want to play the cause and effect game, like ghosting kind of leads to that behavior because, again, you don't get that closure and you don't have
Mm.
the communication to solve the problem with the person. So you just become enraged. So I think some of like those like crazy situations are because people got ghosted and nobody knows really how to deal with it. So you're just like, what happened? Like, and you don't have answers. So it's like you kind of lose your ish a little bit. So I think, if you want to play cause and effect, you can make the argument that, ghosting kind of causes people to act that way.
Huh.
Not, justifying it. Just another take.
Yeah. No, of course. I think there's definitely an aspect to that. And there's definitely, the opposite where the guy was just over the line and the girl was just trying to be nice or just trying to be a friend and was like, yeah, this is not what I wanted. I was just trying to be nice and now this guy's taking it too far. So the ghosting happens. But you're right. And that the other thing could be that, yeah, I thought everything was good. Now I'm ghosted and now I'm acting loco because like that's uh, the scientific aspect of it is the same kind of like love hormone that we get. Everybody talks about serotonin and the happiness, but there's a the science behind it of oxytocin. Think about like when you get like a really big hug, like a
Hmm.
really good hug that you kind of like melt into.
Hmm.
There's a release of oxytocin that goes into your body, and you feel that's like the love hormone when you're close to somebody, you always have that influx of that love hormone that clicks through, and you feel connection because both of you, while seeing each other, you have that influx. And that's the reason why heartbreak is such a big thing because now you're no longer with that person, and that oxytocin almost acts like a drug, and you've been like cut off from that drug. And now, when you've been cut off through that drug, heartbreak and heartache and all that kind of stuff ends up like a withdrawal of that
Mm.
particular drug. So you go through the same kind of actions of being upset and down and depressed and all these kind of things. The linkage there you can think of also oxytocin is used when a mother is giving birth, right? So it's using the uterus contracts, the mom gives birth. There's the postpartum depression that
Hmm.
happens that certain women go through because the oxytocin amounts that are brushing through their body as they're giving birth, they get that whole kind of feeling almost like it's a drug. And then what happens is there's a downward spike of that. And the mom feels almost like, I want to put the baby back in to be closer. And sometimes that kind of stuff can happen where you have this depression that runs into it. So when you have that connection and you're going and making that connection, and then somebody ghosts you, you had that spike, and then all of a sudden they stopped it.
Hmm.
And once they stopped it, now like you said,
It's like
people can go crazy off
people
of
are
that.
gonna, yeah. It's like, yeah. So the way you describe it's like going completely cold turkey, and
Yeah.
you know, if you encounter someone who's ever actually physically probably been through like some kind of addiction, it's probably crazy to see what they'll start acting. You notice the difference when how they start acting too when they're
Oh
going
yeah.
through that withdrawal. It's gonna be scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's definitely, definitely something that's there. So we said that there could be like this idea of aggressiveness or creepiness, or I've even been in a situation where like I was talking to somebody, everything was great. We kept going. And once it took the second level, it was getting too clingy and too everything, and it was almost like we had to take a step back. And I was like, hey, like this is going a lot faster. And yeah, I in retrospect, when you do share that kind of connection with somebody, it's a special connection. So like that kind of thing, it's not like you're just trying to give it up for anything, right? Kind of thing. So you do get that connection, but some people, sometimes it goes a little too much. And it was in this case, and this was somebody that I liked actually for a while, like
Mhm.
even through high school I liked, and we ended up getting together after high school, like during, even after college kind of thing. um but it was somebody that I really did like, and it just got too quick too soon, and I had to kind of pull the plug and say like, listen, we got to stop this kind of thing. And I wouldn't say that I like kind of ghosted, because I feel like when you say the word ghosted, it's almost like you stopped communication without even saying anything. Like I definitely said something, but it came to a point where there was like 14 text messages in a row, and you're like, this is too much. Like I already told you two text messages, and I freak out that I sent two text messages, and I was getting multiple like pages of text messages, and I'm like, this is just too much. And then you get into defense mode, and then you're just like, I gotta block this person. Like this is going. And but in retrospect, like going into the opposite way of like I was just giving the explanation, that kind of thing could be happening. And like what you were saying, Tristan, you thought that the connection was there, and I kind of stopping it, and now I'm not looking at it. I wasn't looking at it in that side, where I could have been better with that. And I could have been smarter with the way that we were kind of talking, not just like, yo, this is going too far. Boom, we got to stop this. Almost like more of a conversation, more of a, hey, let's work. Like, I still kind of want to talk. I still want to do this, but like, let's kind of ease it up and kind of get it that way. So that could happen with that kind of thing. Um, how about like a friend, like a toxic friend, like people who are just takers? Have you ever had that kind of thing, Tristan? Someone who's just a taker?
Yeah. I mean, with those, are obviously they're not easy to kind of deal with, because you'd like to keep friendships, and when you come to that realization where it's just like, it's not benefiting me at all, you're just like draining my energy. Yeah, I mean, it's a defense mechanism in that case.
Or
That's how I
funds,
feel. What?
or funds, like just draining your
Yeah,
funds. Like I've
yeah,
I've had people who are just like mooches, and I'm okay with it to help out as much as I can, but like when you're draining every single way out of me,
bruh. Yeah,
it's crazy. How about
and
you, Andrew?
it's
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're good. I was just gonna say, it's just like, it's a defense mechanism. At that point, you have to
Yeah.
gotta cut ties.
Yeah, like the boundaries, right? Like what we were talking about. Um, this idea of the boundaries. We were saying that this is a kind of a way for us to say, hey, listen, I'm setting this up. This is my thing. Like I need to break this friendship because I can't do this anymore. I can't be the stepping stone. I can't be the person that you're unpacking on. And we kind of talked about that uh, last week with episode 2. So it's about protecting your peace, avoiding that discomfort, all that kind of stuff. And it's not just friends, right? We could do family also. We've talked about that,
Mhm.
drama. When people come in and start doing all this drama, start going, is sometimes you just got to unfollow, right? I've had to do that with certain people. Like I just don't follow you. Like we're still friends on social media, but the greatest thing on Facebook is the unfollow button, because you unfollow, I don't have to see your drama posts. I don't have to see all that because we're good. We're fine. You're good. Right? And that kind of thing kind of makes sense. Um the next thing that I would say is an interesting part, which is what happens when the person that you ghosted or they ghosted you comes back. They call it zombieing. So they've rise from their grave. They come back to rehaunt you and say WYD question mark at 2 a.m. And you know what you're doing. Because if they're hitting you up at midnight, 2 a.m., hey stranger, you're like,
Yo.
Hey, big head.
you're like, yo, I know it's going down. So the question is, why do they come back? And I think I know the answer. What's the
If you
answer?
know the answer, why don't you answer it?
It may or may not be the third letter of WYD. Why they come back? Because but the question is, why do you think that they would come back? Do you think that they're guilty? Do you think that you could feel guilty? Or is it that they're just trying to grab back that power, grab back that little bit of whatever they can get from the relationship?
I'm sure they just missed the attention.
Oh,
Just the
okay.
attention.
The hook.
That's it. Nothing to do with anything else. But no, I think a lot of it is the attention that you get from the person. Going back to the chase. Like if somebody's chasing you, that feeling of being chased. So when you don't have that, it's like you want that. So I just feel like a lot of it is the attention seeking, and also just like again back to the power. So when you have that power and it's a true flex, then that's you flexing it. Watch this, I'm back, and then that person comes chasing after you again. So
Okay. What about you, Drew?
I mean, yeah, I mean, could tie into like what Tristan's saying. I mean, the chances of them really coming back for like something genuine is, you want to have but you know how you said you want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt kind of thing, and especially if it's something that you had you felt like this could have been that person for me and stuff like that. Everything was so good when we were with them, and hey, now you're on the other end, and you're like, hey, there's that chance to get that high back that you were talking about. Get that release of those endorphins and stuff like that, where you think there's now that opportunity that you're like, oh, we can make this work. And I mean, sometimes it's not always the case, or sometimes you end up going through with it and then realizing why it was probably best that it never should have maybe gone further than it did. Kind of thing. And, and then maybe it is what I'm not acknowledging what you said. You know what I was going to, but I'm not going to.
well, I would even say that because it really does ball back into that episode 2 with On the Hook, because when they ghosted you, they never told you, no, I don't want to see you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
By me never telling you, no, I don't want to see you anymore, opened up the door, right? Because the door wasn't slammed shut. You just don't understand why the door is not opening for you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening. So when you're getting ghosted, you're saying this door used to open up and now it's not opening up. What happened? Didn't change my key, didn't change anything about it, but now the door opened up again. And you're like, oh, now I get to go back inside. Because we are, again, to go back to what you were saying, that gratification, but it's also the gratification that you get from that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're I guess like validity by availability kind of thing. Like you're validated by their being available for you because you got ghosted before.
Yep.
So that they don't have a lot of time or whatever, but now they're coming to talk to me. Oh, maybe now I'm important, which is a terrible way to think of things.
I guess isn't this kind of like the situation you're describing a little bit earlier, where it's like, oh, now you want to unblock me,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you kind of also knew what that situation was.
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, yeah, certain times, and depending on what it is, like you know what the situation is. And again, I mean,
So do
I
you
had
get petty with it? Do you ghost them because they ghost
uh,
you?
well, I mean,
Mm.
I did have like a situation way back. Was in had relationship with a girl and
Of the
thought
sexual.
it was not yet, not
Oh,
then.
okay. Okay.
I'm virgin.
Oh, okay.
Now this.
But anyway,
Now this.
where we did our thing, kind of whatever, and I was a young guy, and I was like, you know what, maybe this could be, the person I'm interested in dating and things like that. Got lied to a couple times about certain situations and things that had happened. So did I kind of went into the, let's really not talk, but we kind of still had to interact at sometimes, just with the people that we knew and things like that. And it came to a point where there was kind of like a situation where it was but this was like more in person, like, oh, hey, how is everything? Or, hey, we haven't interacted and now you want to sit right next to me and be all like lovey-dovey types of scenario. Like, what is
Ooh,
going on?
wow.
Young me was okay. Why not? Let me test this out. So then just kind of get strung along and heartbroken again in that case. And it did go back to like hey, if I got to be petty at certain times to when we interact, I'll be petty. Um, and we moved on. We moved on from there. Said and done, we did end up going back and forth for a little while together, and then finally I realized
Entanglement.
it was an intent.
Mm.
Yeah, we'll go with an
Mm.
entanglement, and I kind of realized then and there, like there's probably a reason why I was acting the way I was acting, and I probably should have trusted.
Yeah.
I should have trusted those instincts.
Okay. How about you, T?
I mean, I've had situations where like I've had to kind of just like ghost someone, but not really so much out of like a revenge. But I just felt like it was that time where like, okay, you're back, but like, why? Like, there's really no purpose for you at this point. So I think like at least for me, I often kind of like create answers to the questions that are unanswered. So, like when someone goes to you, like, why? Why did this happen? What went wrong? And you create all these answers, and then you're going to formulate your solution, and then that's it. So, like, to me, that person had their opportunity to kind of explain what they were feeling. So if you didn't, then I'm going to make up the answer for you. And, based on that is going to be how we're going to move after that. So like you coming back doesn't, if it doesn't really benefit me at that point, it's not going to happen.
And like another one is like, oh, I'm gonna send you a happy birthday on your birthday, or like something where you're like, you definitely ghosted me, and now you're sending this happy birthday. Like, why? Why? Like, I don't. And it could be as simple as like I was saying before, they're off again from their boyfriend or their girlfriend or whatever, and they're trying to come back. And you guys messed around, so now that's what they want. They want to do that once they come. I mean, I I had that situation happen to me, and this person was the way that it's as far as the coming back kind of thing. It was more like they had a really strong relationship, and we had talked before, and we had not really messed around or anything, but we had kind of like we were close, and we got really super close. And then she got into this really, really strong relationship, and then that strong relationship broke. As soon as that strong relationship broke, it actually the dude cheated on her, so she was like really upset. So when they were in the relationship, I was cut off, like no talk. But when the dude cheated on her, like where we were close, where we were like friends, we would talk. But when she was in the relationship, no more talking. And I would almost say I understand that. I understand when someone's in a relationship and you don't want to cross that line, like especially if you guys were close like that. I've already explained my guys and girls and friends kind of thing anyway. Um, and I was guilty because I really did want to, be with the person. But so if I was talking to her while she had a boyfriend and secretly I really did want to be with this person, that's not a fair relationship. So I kind of get that. So I was ghosted because they were in the relationship. But as soon as the dude cheated on her, she hit me up right away. And she was like, we're hanging out kind of thing. And I was like, okay. It was like, all right. I was like, yeah. I was like, okay. All right. And I mean, things happened and it was great. But it was definitely like sometimes people are just coming back for that. And that, I mean, that's okay too. But you just have to be able to know how to like put up that border, put up that boundary to say like, I understand what this is. This is just this. Because if you fall into the trap, I feel like it's super easy to fall into that trap because you could be on the opposite side where you're like, I really like this person. I think that's what you were saying before, Andrew. Like, I really like this person. So like I'm falling in and I'm going back and I'm going back. Oh, and now it's back into this cycle of being on the hook.
Yeah, you came back to me and you know what? I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna do it, And it's especially again, like I said, a lot younger me when that situation happened where, I'd wanted that, this. I'm like, I kept telling like this is what I wanted, this is what I wanted, but still in the back of your head, there's those doubts. You see what you don't want to see. As you say, think I could overlook that red flag, kind of thing where wasn't the best decisions, or I know what you did, but I know how you made me feel, but I feel better when I'm with you, per se. And sometimes you can't always. It's not always the right justification for it.
So then it all leads down to the fact that we need to have some sort of closure, right? And I don't know about you guys. I don't really believe too much in this closure stuff because there's a point in your life where you're going to have this kind of I have to get over it kind of thing. But do you need closure in a situation like this where you have to go and figure out why? I think Tristan kind of answered this already on his end, where like I need to hear something, but if you don't tell me something, I'm just gonna get it myself. So T, go into this closure aspect.
I think with the closure, it's also the feedback aspect for the person, right? So if you're getting ghosted and you don't have the answers, then it doesn't really help you in the next situation because now you're kind of left guessing. So I feel like for you, and that's what kind of creates the trauma because it's just unhealed. You don't know what you know it didn't work, but you don't know exactly why or like what happened. So then you're just left scrambling. And I think you're just unprepared for your next interaction, unfortunately. And that's what happens with a lot of people. So it's just like, I don't have any answers. And then you're left to figure it out. Like for me, like I'm going to figure it out, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right reasoning. So
that's true.
That's, not also helpful.
Yeah, I could have hit you with something funny. So funny. Because I'm stupid. So one of that one that I'll tell you about.
Freaking PhD.
Yeah. Yo, so the one that the waitress that I was talking about. Yo, so the last ditch effort that I did for her was I made one of those surveys, like what could we do better?
Stop, no, bro.
I swear to God, I sent it. If I could find this text message, I will post it on the Instagram. I posted a thing like, "What could I do better?" I rated from a 0 to 10.
This man made a survey for getting ghosted,
like an exit interview.
Like an exit interview.
I was like, yo, I need
Hey,
to know. I need to know.
I just need to meet you at like 10 a.m. Just a quick meeting. It's my exit interview. I just really need to
Just
know.
talk it out.
I needed
Just
a
talk it out.
debriefing. I needed a debriefing. I was like, I just
We're gonna
need
file
to
this
know.
with our HR and our end.
Oh
Don't you
my
worry about
gosh.
this. Like,
Bro, that was funny. I still got no response though. I got no response still, and I think that was clever as all hell. But I got no response. But I did do that. Go ahead. Go ahead, Andrew.
it's a crazy half court shot to take, but I respect it. That's hilarious. That's pretty good. That's pretty
I
good. Maybe
did.
we should
I
get those
did.
out.
That
Let's
was.
get those out to the people.
I would
Well,
honestly, if I could find that text message, I'm gonna do it. And if we don't, we'll make our own, and we'll
you're
call
gonna
it.
read- we're
Yeah,
gonna-
we'll make one, and we'll call it "Jot It Down." JAT, jot it down. That's not gonna be our exit
Chat
survey.
it down.
we are still not life coaches.
We are not life coaches,
We're
At
still
but
not
At all.
relationships, nothing.
if we could give
Or-
you a little exit survey,
Something to use.
what can I do
Be
better?
curious. To tie in again, I said, I mean, in a situation like this, like with being ghosted, personally, I don't think like you don't need. I don't think I'm not looking for the closure. Obviously, at some point during this whole interaction, whether it's on my end, your end, where the ghosting happened, okay. And again, I kept saying it earlier. I said it last episode. No answer is it is an answer. You know, it tells me where we stand in this situation with our the relationship that we're putting out between each other. Between each other is not a word. Anyway.
Keep going. You're good.
But again, I know there's people who sometimes need, they you have like you want that closure. That's what's going to help you to move on. And I understand that's certain aspects or that's something that people are looking for. Sometimes to me, I mean, it's just kind of some kind of validation. It's, hey, what is it that I did wrong? What is it that you're looking to improve for yourself. If you're looking to grow, yeah, you want that feedback or criticism as to, hey, what made you want to stop talking to me for any kind of reason? Why do we want to not have that communication? Again, you might not really get your answer. You might get your answer, which is good. In that case, so you can go ahead and look to grow and work on things from there.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. It's a hard answer though, because that the no answer being an answer is a hard answer.
Hard answer.
Because you're like, damn.
And it's very easy to then start going back and trying to figure out, hey, what is it? What is it that I did? Where did I say something wrong? Did they really not like that joke that I made? I thought we were having such good jokes. Do we not have the same humor? And that can start that downward spiral. Where you start just overthinking and thinking, and wheels are spinning, and that hamster wheel is not moving anywhere. But you're just now up late at night trying to figure out, where did I go wrong? I really like this person, and you might be just cuddling a pillow or something. But we don't talk about that.
I love cuddling the pillow. I sleep with like 3 pillows.
3 of them.
So, T, you got any closing words for the people out here?
I would just say like ghosting is just one of those things where I feel like it's become this flex, and we do it for the wrong reasons. I think the intent was once upon a time to protect our peace. At least I would like to kind of think that way, but I feel like it's kind of evolved into this whole like, oh, let's just ghost somebody, and that's how you're going to handle the situation. In reality, you're not really handling the situation. And it's pretty selfish if you think about it, right? Because it's something that you're choosing to do. It's usually abrupt. The other person doesn't get any warning generally. So it's just like they'll figure it out. And, that person's then just left scrambling. And, that's what leads to a lot of like trauma out there and just like unhealed souls, really, So that's kind of like the aftermath of the ghosting is just a whole bunch of people out there with trauma.
Yeah. How about you, Drew? You got some closing words?
I guess with me, ghosting isn't the greatest thing. It's just, It is crazy to see. I don't like it's crazy. Like he said, it's people see it as a flex. I just feel like now it's just more of a norm. You know, we've gotten so comfortable as probably a society doing it. Probably with, we have those dating apps, we have the social media where it's just kind of easy to just see something superficially and be like, oh, I'm either really invested in it or I'm not. And if I'm not, I didn't put much into it. There's not much for me to really have to say. I can just kind of walk away and keep moving on,
Nice.
which is sad to
Yeah,
say.
of course. Yeah, and I think a lot of times with closure, we have to, when we're thinking about this closure, we have to understand a couple of things. Number one, ghosting proved something to us. It proved something that that person may not be emotionally stable or emotionally ready for those kind of things.
Mhm.
And when we're seeking that closure, one of the big things we have to do is always remember our boundaries. Our boundaries are key. What are you worth? And know your worth, because really, to be fair, the best kind of closure is realizing that they never even respected you enough to stay. And that's it,
Or give you an answer.
or give you an answer. So, what I'll say is this: keep on with all this stuff. I mean, we have really had an amazing outburst of people giving us kind of love for this channel, giving us the kind of stuff that we wanted to see in our YouTube and in our reels. You guys seem to love the Instagram. You guys seem to love these things. We're going to constantly push them out. We want you to give us your best ghosting story, whether you did the ghosting or you got ghosted. Make sure you go ahead and reply to either this YouTube channel or into our Instagram. You can send us a message, a DM. You can slide in our DM. Is going down in the DMs, guys? Is it going down in the DMs?
We will
It's
answer.
going down.
We will answer.
We will answer. We're pretty good at it. Shoot us a message, follow us up on Instagram. Keep on keeping on. I'll tell you this. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And this was just
Another.
Take.
have a great one, guys.